I know I've been talking about this video for a really long time, but I finally actually made it. This is the medieval fantasy camping video. And I say medieval fantasy camping video because it's very important that it's a medieval fantasy camping video, not a medieval camping video. Simply because it's really, really difficult to get perfectly historically accurate camping kit. People like Fandabadozi, which he's amazing. I highly recommend you go check out his channel. I'll link it in the description. Fandabadozi has a Highlander kit that is pretty dang historically accurate. He does a really good job with stuff like that. But Scottish Highlanders were a much later thing compared to like Vikings or something, and that's it's really difficult to find medieval camping equipment simply because it didn't happen that often. People didn't go on adventures or camping trips that often in the medieval ages because it didn't serve much of a purpose. People would go on like large-scale battles or crusades, or they would go out to siege a castle. But the thing about that is, usually they would have a lot of people with them. So like, if you had tons of people carrying all your stuff, tents, food, water, yeah, sure. But having one person trying to carry all of that just didn't happen that much throughout history. So it's really difficult to make a perfectly historically accurate camping kit. But what I can do is make a medieval fantasy camping kit that looks the part and looks like something you'd find in Lord of the Rings or The Witcher or something like that, but it wouldn't have been used throughout history. And that's the main thing that I want to have as a disclaimer for this video. Is not everything you see in this is historically accurate. Even like a majority of the clothes that I'm wearing are fantasy more than medieval. And so with that information, here's the video. This is all of the stuff I have in my medieval fantasy camping kit. I technically wouldn't need to bring my ukulele, but I'm just bringing this because A, it's fun, and B, this would simulate the weight of stuff like food, because I forgot to make bannock bread and oat cakes and bring any historical foods for this. But this is just sort of like my counterweight for that. So the first thing in my pack is, of course, the actual pack. This has my cloak and blanket from Felon Fair on the top strap, some random bits of rope in either pockets. So my Felon Fair cloak, linen one, as well as my blanket and some bits of rope in here. And in this little front pocket, I have this little bag, and this just has some random little assortment of cloak pins so that I can use my wool blanket as a cloak if it gets too cold for my linen one. Then I've got my water bottle, which I was going to make my own leather water bottle, and I tried a few times actually, and it just didn't work out. I couldn't get it to seal properly, and it just kind of, all of the ones that I tried sort of fell apart or didn't seal properly. So I'm still using this one that doesn't look perfect, but it fits better than just a metal water bottle or something like that. And of course I've got my sheepskin. This is actually using the strap that I usually use for my green wool blanket, but my Felon Fair one fits into my backpack now, so I can use it for my sheepskin instead. Then inside, got a small frying pan for cooking food. My fire bag, this has got flint and steel, char cloth, and a little bit of like tinder and stuff like that. And then this is less historically on theme, but I've just got some pencils and paper. And I've got a little bit of cloth, and that's it. And then along my belt, I've just got my extra bag from Dainty Jane's. And I've also got my copper cup on this little leather thing that I made myself to be able to touch this with, still being able to take it off easily. It's just got a little toggle right there that this leather slides through. And that allows me to carry this on me, on my belt, and still get it off without having to take my whole belt off. Most of the stuff, such as this belt, cloak, and blanket, you can find on Felon Fair. The rest of the stuff I'll have links to the description, and this bag is from Dainty Jane's Handmaids, which I'll also have a link to the description too. As far as a tent or thing to sleep in goes, I won't really be using one. I'll mostly just be sleeping under the stars with just my sheepskin laid out and a blanket. Right now it's about an hour before I will probably be going to sleep. I've got my cloak and my vest wrapped up as a blanket. I've got my wool blanket, or as a pillow. I've got my wool blanket and my sheepskin, and the rest of my stuff is just back there. Hopefully there won't be any mosquitoes out. I haven't seen any yet, and I'm optimistic that there won't be any mosquitoes, but I'm not sure. I just got up out of bed, and as far as the sheepskin, it worked perfectly. It was a super comfortable bed to sleep in. The wool blanket, I think for a warmer night would have been perfect, but for this specific night it got really cold, so I did have to use my sleeping bag instead of the wool blanket. But I think next time I'll just bring my green wool blanket as well as my white felon fur one, and maybe just an extra linen blanket on top or something like that to sort of break the wind. I'll also probably want to add a waxed canvas tarp to put underneath my sheepskin, but other than that, the kit worked fairly well for camping. I think someday I'll make another video like this with new additions to my kit, since I've actually tested it out now, and I'll have a slightly more developed camping gear. But for now, thank you for watching, and as always, have fun.